Let me know, guys, if you can see my screen. Okay. So class, like today I'll be covering JavaScript part in web development, and my name is Rimjim, and I work as a cloud and infrastructure engineer at Larsen and Turbo. So yeah, and our agenda for today will be I'll be covering HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Like there's a thin line difference between all of them, and I'll let you know all the differences between those three, and then we'll cover introduction and then output variables, keywords, and then functions in JavaScript. So yeah, JavaScript is like one of the important languages which everyone who wishes to learn web development should know. So guys, like there is a thin line difference between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So if you see a human body, like the structure is what we call it as JavaScript is. HTML, which is hypertext markup language. So if you see the structures, like all the covering, for example, if you see the Learnovate page, so the structures and the outings can be made as an example for HTML. But if we see the coloring and all those things, and coming to the human body example, if we like cover ourselves with makeup and all those dresses and everything, we can relate it to CSS. Similarly, class, like if we have a good structure, if we have a good design to our body, if we have a good presentation and styling, but if we do not have any kind of functionality to us or to our web page, it would be no meaning to us. So similarly, to add functionality to our programs, we mainly use JavaScript. For example, if we take an example of Naukri.com, or if we take an example of Flipkart. So let me just open that if my browser permits. No, I cannot open since this is my office laptop. Okay. Yeah. So like if we see Flipkart, or if we see Mintra, or if we see any job application site, so if you see the buttons, if you see, there is always an interaction between the user and the web page. For example, if you are typing like t-shirts, or if you're typing any kind of dresses on a web page, and if you're getting some result, that is what we call it as an interaction between the user and the web page. So typically that function is enabled by JavaScript in our web pages. So what is JavaScript? Is a JavaScript is a list of programming statements. It adds functionality to your program, as I told you, and JavaScript is the programming language of a web page, of web. And class, like if you know C, if you know C++, or if you're aware about Python, so in any programming languages you go, there will be variables, there will be functions which we will be declaring to have an interaction between the web page and us. So what is variables is, so variables are mainly used to store values, and in JavaScript you can do it by using this keywords where, let, const, to declare all those variables. And if you want to declare, and if you want to assign any kind of value to your variables, we will be using an equal sign in between our variable and the number which we have assigned. And like in any other programming languages, we have arithmetic operators also, like so in some programming languages we use keywords like sum, add, or minus, but here in JavaScript we will be using the numerical value itself. And then there are JavaScript output statements, which when I'll be doing labs, you'll get to know how do we use the statements in our program. So like we have a lot of statements actually, but I have included major four statements only to give you a gist of how do we print an output to the console. So to do that, we mainly use an statement called as inner HTML, writing into an HTML element, and then we use document.write. Let me know, class, if my pace is faster, or if you want me to lower down my pace, or if you have any doubts, you can stop me in between anyhow. Yeah. So like, and to, if you want to print any kind of messages as an alert to your web page, so we'll be using windows dot alert message. And then if I want to print anything, and if I want to take anything in my console, or if I want to write anything in my browser, I'll be using console dot log function. And all these are inbuilt statements which are there in JavaScript. And then, as I told you, there will be a lot of variables. There are ways to define variables in any programming languages, and I told you how do we do it in JavaScript. In JavaScript we use var, let, const to declare variables. And we have also if statements, which if we want to put a condition in our web page, for example, if marks for a student is greater than 50, or if color is pink, then this should happen, or this is what we have to move ahead. If we want to put conditions in our web page, then we use if statements. And then if we want to include n number of cases in our program, then we will be using switch in that case. And then if I have, for example, if I have only one condition to compare, then I can use if. But in cases wherein I have 100 cases or 99 cases to be compared, so in that case I will be using for loop. It is just similar class to C or any programming languages. There is no any difference in JavaScript or any other programming languages. And then I'll just show you how do we declare a function in JavaScript. So to declare any function, we'll be using function keyword. And then how do we return, on how do we exit from any function. And then error handling statements also, like how do we use try, catch, and all those blocks in our program. So as I told you, like function is a code block inside curly brackets, and the purpose of code block is to define statements to be executed together. One place you'll find statements grouped together in blocks is in JavaScript functions. And if I want to declare a function in JavaScript, I'll be using function keyword followed by the name of my function. And then within my curly brackets, within curly braces, I'll define this. Where in document.get element by ID, this is my ID for my page. ID is nothing but it defines the HTML element. And then what I'm printing apple. For example, I told you anything if I want to print, I'll be using this other output statements. And then what is the main advantage of function is, like, for example, if I write a function at one place in my program, I can call it at n number of places. Like I can use it anywhere in my entire program. If there are 100 statements, I can just call my function everywhere if I just declare it at once. So this is an advantage of function. And then, like, how this is how my basic JavaScript program will look like, in hello world program typically known as in other languages. So like HTML, since this is an HTML program, and the main context I'll be writing in my body part, wherein I'll write script language is equal to JavaScript, and then it can be text or JavaScript, whatever you prefer. And then as I told you, like to print any kind of statements to the console, I'll be using document.write or inner.html or alert or anything. However, I want to print my output to the console, I'll be using that. And then I'll close my script, and then we close the body part, and then we close HTML. This is how, inside this is my basic structure for today. And inside this I'll be writing, and I'll be showing you how do we write programs in JavaScript today. Any doubts, class, as of now? Guys, please just interact. There's no sense if you guys are dumb and I'm just on.
No, ma'am.
Yeah. And then let's just move to the program part. And in case if you have any doubts regarding regarding how do we pursue in web development, or how do we start your a career in cloud, or how do we pursue, you can just reach me anytime, and then I'll help you. And like, as we know that, for example, if we are executing a C program, we will be using turbo C. If we are using we are writing a C++ program, we will be using we will be using turbo C++, but all these cases are not there in JavaScript. You can just write your program on a notepad and then save it with .html extension, and that would be great to go. And for starters, I like people who are just beginning their career in web development, or they're just learning. I would always prefer to like use normal notepad instead of notepad plus plus, or using editors like VB, Visual Basic, and all those things. Because at a start, if you start using them, it won't give you a hang of the program. So till now, I love using notepad because it will just show me my errors every time. So yeah, and every time I'll make errors and then I'll learn from it. So that is a plus point. So whenever we are writing an HTML program, we will start it with doc type HTML, which will just show that this is an HTML program, and then HTML. And then, like first, I'll just show you how do we include all those statements in my program, which I showed you here. Like how do we use windows.write, or how do we use document.write, or console.log. So let's just write a basic program first on how do we use all this type of statements. And then hey, just give me a second, somebody is trying to reach me out. Just 1 second. Yes, hello. Yeah, can I just give you a call later? I'm in a meeting. Yeah, yes, okay, thank you. Yeah, so document, so button, and then on the click of my button, so on click is an event which will occur, is equal to windows dot print. It's in this output statement which I will be using. And then let's come out of this, and then I want to print my page. Okay, and then let's just close this button.
Excuse me, ma'am. Can you just increase the font size, please?
Yeah, sure. Is this okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So what this program will do is, like on the click of my button, whenever I click my button, then my page, whatever page I am on, it will just try to print that page. So let's see, if let's save it, and then example one, and we will save our program with .html extension, and then let's go on desktop. Okay, window.print. Let's just check our code. Okay, it is window.print, not windows.print. Let's just save it and run it again. So yeah, if you see, like with the help of the statement windows.print, I can just print like whatever content is there on my page. I can just include. I just did not include all those paragraphs and everything, but if you can just print your page through windows.print, and this is how it will look. You can just select the settings and then go ahead and print your page. Yeah, and then let's just do another program. Is this program clear, class? It is just a simple, I just use this inbuilt function for JavaScript, and on click of my button, this is an event, I'm printing my page. Okay, and then let's just do another program now. Let me just remove this, and then include header also this time. program to demonstrate alert output statement. And then let's just write in script. And then as I told you, we'll be using window.alert. And then whatever I want to print within an alert message, let's just print like 10 plus 10. And then I'll end my script. And then let's just save it. See, as I told you, like on whenever I run that program, it will be a kind of alert message to my web page. For example, herein I wrote window.alert, and then whenever I'm running my script, what will be my output will be like whatever arithmetic operation I have given. For example, let's just do it 10 minus 10, and then see. See, so whatever thing you're, these are the ways and how do we print output to the console. So this is one way, like I can just print as a I can just print it as a alert message, or I can print it as a what did we do earlier? What, like I can just print it on console, or whatever we wish, we can just do it using the four statements I just showed you in the presentation. So let's just click on OK, and then do it. And let's just go to the here. And like even like here, and how did I show you, like here I was just printing my output like as an alert message. We can also do it as an event type. Whenever I'm writing my whenever I'm opening my page, it should just show not as an alert message but as a normal message on the click of the button. So let's just do that. Button type equal to button, and then on click of that button this event will occur. On click, like there were four statements, right? Document.write, and then we had windows.write, and then windows.alert. So on click is equal to, I'll write document.write. Document.write. And then let's just try dividing this time. 2 divided by 2 and see. Click me, please. Click me. And then I'll close my button. And then yeah, rest all follows. So here in what I'm doing is like my button type is button. This is my criteria which I have given. And on click, this is an event type. On click of my button, what I'm writing, this is document.write statement. Whenever I click this button, this is the operation which should perform. Like it should just divide and then show me the output. And the name of the button which I've given is click. Click me. So let's just save it. See. Okay, and I did not change this. Demonstrate document.write. Let's just remove this. Yeah, that you guys do not get confused. So if you can see, like this is how I will be printing outputs to my console. So I use inner HTML document.write, windows.alert. And then similarly, like if you're writing a bigger program, this was just a demonstration, so I just wrote it somehow just to show you how do we do the practical. So if you want to write bigger programs, so in that case it will help you if you know all this kind of statements. And then what do we cover next? Okay. Okay, so let's just cover how do we declare variables, variable part. Program to demonstrate variables. And I also do not know if this time the recording is on or not. So it's on your luck. Demonstrate variables. And then this time I'll be using document.get element by id, wherein I'll be defining an id first. So for that I'm using p tag, and then I'm using id is equal to, let's say, demo, and then we'll close our p tag. And then we'll begin our script. And then, as I told you, like to define variables in JavaScript, we can use let keyword, we can use where keyword. So this time we'll use let a comma b comma c. And then we'll end it wherever you're declaring any kind of variables. And once you're done declaring the variables, you have to end it with a semicolon. Okay. And then I'll just give values to my variables. Let's say a, I have given 5, comma b, I have given 3, comma okay, a b c, and then in c I'll be printing the output. So herein I'll use c is equal to a plus b. This is my operation which perform. And then I'll close this, and then I'll write document document dot get element element by id. And then herein I'll try calling my id which I have declared upper, which is demo dot inner html to print this. Which will print my c, comma. And then let's just end the script part. So like herein what I'm doing is I am declaring my id so that my html could take it here in my document or get element by id. So in my id statement, what I have declared, I have declared my id type as demo, id as demo, and then I have ended my paragraph tag, and I have started my script with declaring variables a b c, where I have given a as 5, b as 3, c as. In c I'll be storing the output of both of my variables. And then document.get element by id, wherein my id is demo. Okay. And then dot inner html to print the statements. Okay. And then let's just save it and then run the program. Okay, so it did not take. So document.get element by id. Okay, so this is case sensitive. I have to make sure this also document.get element by id demo dot inner html may I am declaring c id. So class, if you see this statements, right, get like javascript is highly case sensitive, so whenever we are doing any kind of operations, we have to make sure that like we are following the like we are following the structure properly. For example, even if I make errors in g e by I, like if I'm writing that in uppercase and it has to be in this sequence only, you cannot just otherwise your program will not run. So yeah, if you see here, I got my output as 8. My whatever, what was the operation which I gave as c is equal to a plus b. If I just write here into also, it should perform that arithmetic operations accordingly. See, if you see that it is doing. So these are the ways class we so far now what did we do? We just did all the output statements. We came to know how do we declare variables, how do we use inner.html, how do we write statements, how do we print outputs using windows.alert, windows.print, and then variables. And then let's just see some more programs. I just had a submission which I did previously with the previous batch. Where did it go? Mm. So this I did, this also I did function. Okay, so let me open this. So as I told you, like it is normal program only. So whenever, uh, like for example, how I did here, I was doing document element by ID normally. Just 1 minute. Okay, so whenever I'm writing anything, so in this way here, what I can do is I can just write this part in a function, and then I can call it anywhere. Like if my program is of 1,000 code, I can just call it anywhere in my program. So similarly, this is. Let me just increase the font. So similarly, what I'm doing here is on the click of the button event, I'm calling my function ABC. And here in what I've written in my output statement is good morning in this. So what happens is I have declared my function here with the keyword function, and the name of my function is ABC. Okay, and like as I told you, like I will be declaring first to use get element by ID. I have to declare ID first. So my IDs are demo 1 and demo 2, and then I'm just printing the statements. I'm just printing some of the other things in my function. You can even do what I've done here in your html.c. So you can just take this statement and then you can also print in here, but you have to declare one more ID in that program. So let's just run it and then see. So yeah, if you see here on the click of my button, I was getting 15, and then here in what I'm getting is I'm just calling my function on the click of my button. It is just normal example. And then this is done, this is done. Example, this is done, this is done. Okay, let's just see this also. So here in what I'm doing is on the click of my button, I'm just printing date, whatever is the current date, and date is an inbuilt function in JavaScript. So as we were like on the click of my button previously in the codes where I wrote in, I was just doing additions and subtraction, like arithmetic operations. So here in on the click of my button, what I'm doing is I'm printing the current date and time. So let's just save it and run it. These are just normal examples which I just wanted to show you, which is not important. So yeah, on the click of my button, it is coming because date is an inbuilt function in JavaScript. So I'm just calling date, or like in my output console, what I'm printing is date, and then nothing else. I guess this is also normal program, hello program. So yeah, class, I guess I'm done, and you'll get your assignments from your coordinators. And in case if you have any doubts related to any topic in web development or in cloud, you can just reach out to me anytime. Any doubts, anyone?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.